Oh, if only we could spray stuff through the air.
I wish we could.
We're gonna bring Daniel Hall up here in a second here. There he is over there. All right, we're gonna bring him up here right there. Put Daniel up there. So Daniel joins us all the way from Maryland.
Maryland.
I know, joining us from Maryland. Marty, are you guys neighbors or what?
Where in Maryland are you exactly?
Hagerstown.
No, we're not neighbors.
Daniel Hall. I invited Daniel to center stage today, guys. Nation, Johnny, Richie, Daniel is a superhero. And what I mean by that is Daniel gets up every single day, taking care of, leading the charge with his wonderful family. Daniel, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, seven wonderful foster children.
Actually, they're all adopted.
They're adopted foster children.
Adopted, yes.
So
we have 6 adopted and 1 biological.
So I don't know about you guys, but when I just go through life and you meet these exceptional human beings, some just rise to the top. And Johnny, Marty, Rich, you meet somebody like, oh yeah, you talk to them, you get to know them, and then you lean into what they do and you're like, yeah, I have some foster children, and yeah, I adopted them. And you start talking to this fellow, and I had a coffee with Daniel a few weeks back, and I loved getting to know Daniel. Daniel, I want to have you on the show. I want to get to know what it's like raising a family, your wonderful family of adopted foster children. And then I want to talk for a few minutes around fakery on LinkedIn and social media, because you also have a side job, every pun intended, where you like to wear the white hat and just maybe create curiosity, my term, create curiosity around what's happening behind the scenes on the social media platforms. But before we go there, Daniel, let's lean into being an exceptional dad of these foster children, these adopted foster children you had. Put you and your wife on that track to make that journey of choosing this kind of life. Daniel.
I got to get my distance here. John Anderson's been eating eggs, so.
Marty's got the spray. Marty's got the spray.
I got you, John.
All right, pass it over. I remember the day my wife asked me, would you ever consider fostering and adopting? And I looked at her and I said, oh, hell no. I'm not going to have to, I don't want to ever parent a child like I was growing up. I grew up in foster care, was saved by the halls, and I just didn't want any parts of that. But as we got deeper into that journey, I saw myself vicariously through our children's eyes as a foster kid. All the lying, the cheating, the stealing, the hoarding of food, it was all right there in front of me. I'm like, oh my God, this is me. And it was so healing for me to go through that. And it inspired me to actually train over 50 foster families on what it's like, the good, the bad, and the ugly of fostering and growing up in foster care.
Wow.
So my wife just has this way of reaching into your soul and capitalizing on the best parts of you. She does that with me. She has to do it with me because I'm the biggest kid in the house.
Yeah.
So, and she takes away the negativity and she inserts the positivity in there. And she helps me understand what the trauma is, how to work with that trauma, how to tell when the kids are hangry, when they're tired. So she's just that amazing soul that's the backbone of our family.
That's exceptional. Johnny, when you hear Daniel talking and I see you leaning in there and I see your ears perking up and you know a little bit about Daniel's story, 7 kids, foster children, talks about his wife being the anchor. What do you hear? John, when you're hearing Daniel talk, what's coming to mind for you, John Anderson?
How he's talking about his wife is exactly how I feel about Terry. She's just like that. I don't know. She's that voice of reason. I just made a video yesterday about how when your mate really loves you, they will be brutally honest. So she's brutally honest to tell me when I'm being a dickhead, and she'll tell me, she'll point blank. And I know that she has so much love for me and our family that she is just being brutally honest so we can be better.
Yeah. What about you, Marty? You hear Daniel's story. I know. Talked to you a little bit, Daniel, offline here over the last couple of weeks. You heard Daniel's story. I talked about superhero and the love that he's giving back to his family. Marty, what strikes you, brother?
How he first said he was opposed to being a foster parent.
Yeah.
Didn't know at first, right? And so it's crazy how we go against things that we never thought we would do. You end up doing them, and it ends up being the greatest thing you've ever done. Dan, how important is it to have people like your wife in your life that are going to not necessarily challenge you, but bring you to higher levels and higher callings, and probably your journey and your purpose? So how important is it to have people in your life like that?
Yeah.
My mom is backbone of me, and my wife Tina is so much like my mom. My mom, when I was 8 years old, sat there bored off her ass. I would bring home reams of computer paper, just stacks of computer paper when I was 8 years old from college that I went to, and she would sit there bored off her ass and just cheerlead me. And my wife is just the same way with our kids and our family. She's a cheerleader. She's just everything. If you multiplied all the jobs she had up, everything I do would pale in comparison to what she does.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Johnny?
Oh man, when he started off with talking about his mom, I cannot tell you how closely that hit to my heart, because I'm a huge mama's boy. Without her influence, I wouldn't be who I am today on just about every level.
Yeah. The power of our moms. Richie, when I met you, and we've talked many times, what struck me is when you had your incident overseas and lost your arm, came back home, mom gave you the fishing rod, the fishing reel, and she empowered you to live a life of possibility. Richie, talk about moms. We're clearly talking about moms this morning. Rich, talk about mom, brother.
That was the defining moment in my rehabilitation after I lost my arm. When I showed up in the hospital, she had my fly fishing rod. I'm like, what am I going to do with that? But she knew I was something I identified with. And once I got back into it, it made me realize anything is possible. My mom's one of my biggest heroes. Without her, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah, Rich, I still get goosebumps when you tell that story. I got chicken skin again just now. You tell that story because I can't imagine what goes through your head. Mom walking in, you see the rod, and you're like, what the fuck? That's incredible to me. But hey, we're hanging out with Daniel Hall here. We're talking foster children. We're talking the power of moms, and we're hanging out with Daniel Hall on center stage. And I want to pivot the chat to what Daniel also does during his many hours of his day is he puts the white hat on and he just goes out on the social platforms like LinkedIn and says, hey, that activity over there is making it look a little bit curious. That activity over there might look a little bit like sorcery. That activity over there might look a little bit fake. So Daniel Hall, talk a little bit about Spotapod, Peekaboo, and some of the things you're doing on the LinkedIn side of things with putting the white hat on and helping educate folks about what is real and the game. And Daniel, the secret lies behind social media. Daniel Hall.
We just talked about the humanity part of all of us growing up and what inspired us. That is humanity for us. Those are the people that inspired us. If I reverse engineered that, we'll use a technical term, reverse engineered what my parents did for me, then the flip side of that would be teaching our kids to cheat as soon as they come out of the womb. And what we're doing on social media, what a lot of people are doing are just gaming the system. They are dropping their posts into automated platforms that use AI to comment and like without people even knowing, without creators that are part of those, what we call them pods, without people that are in those pods, they have no clue what they're engaging on. And that just, if I were to create a fake news post right now and drop it in a pod, the 200 or 300 people that engage with it and comment on it don't even know that it's out there and it's fake news. I've done multiple fake news posts. I can tell people in those pods what to use as comments. So that could be treasonous for them. If it had something to do with Hamas or it had something to do with the elections, that could be very bad for their brand. But let's get back to the humanity side of this. You see the wall back here. There's a cool story about that wall, and it relates to LinkedIn and putting the human back in humanity. Our youngest, a little girl, she was drug and alcohol exposed in utero. She spent 2 weeks in detox after she was born. And within 4.5 months, part of her small intestines had died. So they had to reattach the large and the small intestine. So a lot of meltdowns, that fetal alcohol causes a lot of meltdowns, a lot of screamers. One day she was throwing one of her screamers and it just went dead silent in the house. Nothing. She was 4 years old. She came back with this picture.
Yeah.
Of her, and if I can grab the picture, her and I holding hands. And you can see Daddy was a little bit loud that day. Picture's worth 1,000 words. She came to me, she handed it to me, and she's like, Daddy, I am sorry. I am so sorry. And she asked if she could hang it up on my wall in my office. This wall is a very powerful wall for me because whenever our kids come in to my office, they see all their bumps in the road. They see when they showed up and made themselves accountable. It's all right there in front of them. And to me, this is the humanity part of our family. And to me, it took a 4-year-old little girl to inspire me to write software that would calculate how much time we spent with each other in the comments. And I did that, and being inspired by a 4-year-old little girl who wrote her first book now when she was 7. She's 8 now. Last year, she wrote her first book. she would drop her teddy bear off in my office and ask me if Teddy could go to daddy daycare. And when she was 7, she said, Dad, I'm ready to write my book. And I'm like, what? She says, yeah, I want to tell people how Teddy plays when I'm away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that I really wanted to preface all the fakery and stuff with why I do what I do. My why is right here. My why is my family. And my why is just making sure that we're setting our future generations up, not to cheat, but to build relationships the old school way.
Yes.
You know, these face-to-face conversations, the conversations that we're having right here, not, hey, you want to get married? Hey, we're going to break up. Hey, everything's over text message. This is the power of community. This is the power of being able to have connected human conversations.
Yes, the power of community and the power of humanity with our friend Daniel Hull joining us this morning on Center Stage. Daniel, I invited you in this morning to talk about your family, to talk about humanity, to tease a little bit about the sorcery stuff you're working on over there. I'd love to have you back to continue that conversation, but I really wanted to root it in the foundation of who you are as a human, my friend. I respect what you do every single day. I love your purpose. I love your mission. I really enjoyed watching Richie's and John's face leaning in and their expressions as you were talking. Your purpose, like I said, your mission is exemptional, my friend, and I applaud you. I applaud you for everything you do. I love that you are focusing on putting the humanity back in social. And Marty and John, we talked yesterday or a couple days ago on the show that Harvard did a study that 85-year-old people, when they were dying, what did they say? It was social connections, what they missed, right? It wasn't worrying about cholesterol. It wasn't worrying about their social media accounts. It was that social fitness that they talked about. So Daniel Hall, I know you're practicing it every single day. I thank you for joining us here in the lab this morning. Will you come back and hang out again to get into a deep dive with us?
Just let me know when.
Awesome, my friend. You come back and see us again.